Americans believe in the value of immigration. We're the most generous nation on earth to immigrants, allowing over 1 million people a year to come here legally. They come here in pursuit of what we recognize as the American dream, the chance to live in freedom, and have the opportunity to work hard to make a better life for themselves and their families. The problem is that our legal immigration system has been broken for decades, and it's enabled 11 million people to come here illegally or overstay visas. It's also a bureaucratic and inefficient system that does not address the needs of our economy. All this has further deepened the American people's mistrust in the ability of their government to perform basic functions. But leaving in place a broken immigration system and the millions of people whose identities are a mystery to us is simply not an acceptable option. This must be fixed. And that's why I'm advocating for securing our borders, improving enforcement, modernizing our legal immigration system, and changing it so that it prioritizes welcoming people to the United States based on skills, not just on whether they have a family member already living here. And that's why I support a process to identify and register those who are here illegally. They'll have to submit to biometric data in order to pass multiple national security and criminal background checks. They'll have to pay $2,000 in fines. They'll have to pay taxes. They'll have to learn English and American civics. And they won't be able to get any federal benefits like welfare or Obamacare. Before they can even apply to become permanent residents, they should have to wait at least 10 years. They'll have to get in line behind those who are trying to come here the right way. And they will have to wait until we have a system in place to prevent illegal immigrants from being hired. They will have to wait until we have a system in place to track people who overstay their visas. And they will have to wait until we've implemented plans to spend at least $5.5 billion to secure the border through more Border Patrol officers, more technology, and yes, more fencing. Now, I thought long and hard before taking on this issue. I understand how divisive it can be. I've seen how the left has used it to accuse opponents of their version of reform of being bigots and racists. And I would much rather be having a debate on the more fundamental ways we can grow our economy and get our debt and our spending under control. But with or without us, the president and the Democrats who control the Senate, we're going to bring this issue up. And I believe conservatives need to fight for the ideas and policies we believe are critical to fixing our immigration system. The opponents of reform raise important points about not rewarding the violations of the law. I too have felt the frustration many feel that our nation's generosity has been taken advantage of by some. But policymaking is about solving problems. And to pick the right solution, you have to weigh the realistic alternatives. Deporting all illegal immigrants is not a practical solution, but ignoring the fact that they're here is just as bad. For example, passing a law that only focuses on modernization and enforcement and leaves for another day the issue of those here illegally, that's not a good idea. Because as the enforcement measures kick in, we'll have millions of people living here illegally who will be unable to work and provide for themselves and their families. And the resulting humanitarian impact will then force us to scramble to address it. And I think it's better to address it now as part of an orderly and measured process. The only solution I know that can work is to reform legal immigration in a way that is good for the economy, do everything we can to secure the border, and allow illegal immigrants to eventually earn permanent residency by passing a background check, paying a fine, learning English, and waiting at the back of the line for at least 10 years. And at the same time, that border security and enforcement measures are put in place to prevent this problem from happening again. The bill I helped write is a good starting point, but it's never been a take it or leave it proposition. I'm open to any ideas others may have on how to do this, and I've been listening to the legitimate concerns people have raised with the expectation that we will be able to improve the bill as this debate continues. We must do something to end today's de facto amnesty, and conservative Republicans should lead on this issue. Because without conservatives at the table and in the fight, we're ceding this issue to President Obama and his allies in Congress. And as the last 4 years have proven, that is never a good idea.